I've already done the preliminary walk around, checking for cosmetic imperfections, obvious structural alignments, or gap inconsistencies, dings and dents. So I'm going to just do a quick little walk around. I've already paint metered everything. The paint read between 2.5 to 3.5, which are pretty solid readings for the vehicle. So I didn't see any obvious signs of repaint, with the exception of the bumpers. The meter can't read the material, the polyurethane that they use. But just a quick little walk around and stuff I look for. I look at the lenses, check for cloudiness or cracks. Looks pretty decent. Body lines look pretty consistent, but I'll also review it when I'm back at my desk. But again, they look pretty even. The paint, it's got its blemishes, right? You could definitely improve the quality of the paint by getting a professional grade detail, like maybe like a wet sand and buffing, right? Probably get a lot of those little blemishes that I'm seeing right now. Plus, I did dust it down. It was kind of dusty. Here, the bumper guard here, just a nice little dent right there, but still secure. Lens is good, nicely secured. All right. Windshield, didn't see any obvious cracks, strips, or signs of delamination. We got the photo of the public ID. And while I'm here, I'd like to take a look at the dash, and I'm checking for cosmetic blemishes or signs of defective materials or workmanship. All right. So again, looking pretty decent. Here, I always get a shot of the wheel well area. I always like to take a look in here, see if anything's kicked up. Gives me the opportunity to look at the strut assembly as well. Nothing's really grabbing my attention. Okay, that's pretty solid. Tires, I looked at the production date. These are 2015. I know you'd mentioned just the unevenness in the beginning. I thought they were going to be really old tires, but 2015, that's not too bad. So when I run my hands over the treads, I'm not feeling any lumpiness. So I'm thinking maybe a flat spot or something, but we'll see. I still have to drive it. And then when I'm down here, I just take a look at side panels, looking for dings, dents, or signs of waviness. Get a good shot of the outside mirror. Those sometimes get banged up, and that looks pretty decent, nicely secured. Here's a view of the roof. Glass looks good. Again, gaps look decent. Okay. And then looking at the left rear wheel well area. I'll move a little faster. If there's something that you want to see, just press pause and you can get the still photo. And outside tire, it's a Goodyear. It was 2015 was the production date on that, and it's got the caps. All right, and let's get a side view. Quick side view. Again, just checking for dings, dents, and signs of waviness. Good. Rear bumper looks like it's in nicely secured. Same with the taillight lenses. Glass good. Rear spoiler there, good. I'll check the operation of the wipers. Rear bumper guard, kind of loosely fit, but still secured. Good. Usually, it's normal to see scratches here, as this being the loading area. Now I look at the froster lines too. Sometimes when they get tinted and cleaned, they cut them, and then it doesn't work anymore. Here's a view of the back side, the roof. Okay. And let's do a side panel view. And just some scuffs and cosmetic blemishes here. Fuel cap area, everything nicely secured here. Just the pigtail here, just missing the. I don't know if it goes there or not, but just got to be careful when you remove it to place it here, and not let it just hang because it'll fall. Glass good. Right rear wheel area. Fortunately, because of the rims and the covers, I can't get a view of the brakes. And this is just a hubcap here. Nice chunk here, but doesn't affect the rim structurally. Tires here, 2015 as well. Just some side scuffs here. And there's a ding or two, but nothing major, like right here. Nice little ding. Outside mirror, nicely secured, and right front wheel well area. Again, when I run my hand across the tire tread, not feeling any any lumpiness. So then this is a view of the windshield from the right side and the dash. One final look at the roof. On this segment of the video, what we're going to do is we're going to do the startup. The car's actually been started, like, this is the third time now. Once when it was moved to another position here, and second when I did a battery test, and third, this is the one I'm going to capture on video. So the first thing we want to see when we turn on the ignition is we want to see all those fault light indicators coming on. With you see the battery, you see the oil lamp, you see the check engine light or engine, right, and airbag light. And looks like the out mileage is 69,570, right? So we'll go ahead and fire it up right now. Just crank it over, and we'll listen to the cranking speed and listen for any abnormal noises, possibly from the starter, or engine, or anything else. Here we go. All right. So that was a decent startup. All the lights did illuminate, and then we're just gonna wait for it to cycle. Do the self-diagnostic, and looks like all the lights did turn off. But I'll still be doing the in-depth scan, which is a full chassis scan, checking for maybe some internal engine faults, transmissions, something other than what this system would pick up on. All right, so just letting it idle here. The engine is still cold, so I do expect the idle to be a little high. I'm gonna step on the brake. Usually that does lower it. Here we go. Okay, so it's around 1100 right now. That's still too high, but at the end of the video, I'll circle back here and we'll take a look. So let's take a walk outside here. And in part of this segment here, what I do is I walk towards the rear of the vehicle, and what I want to do is I want to look at the exhaust. We don't want to see any type of smoke other than condensation's okay, but we don't want to see black, blue, gray, or white. That all means something. And I also like to kind of get in there really close and look for excess signs of soot, right? So that's this condensation right there. So we're okay with that. While I'm back here, I'm gonna stay quiet for a second. All right, and what I like to do is just kind of listen to the exhaust note, listen for misfires or anything, right? And I'm not hearing that. So let's make our way towards the front of the vehicle. Right. So looking at the engine bay, I always start off with the underside of the hood. I check the insulation, right? Make sure it's there. And also I like to see if it's sustained any rodent damage. For whatever reason, on when rodents like to nest or sleep or whatever they do here in the engine bay, they like to chew at this material. They like it. So I check for that, because if I see it, then I know that we've got a nesting problem, and there's a possibility of chewed up wiring or hoses. Even if I don't see anything there, I still check. Right? I get in the engine bay. I look in all the little dark little crevices, because they'll go in there and they'll chew the wire and the hoses, which can be really expensive to repair. I'm not seeing that today. Also look for structural issues. I look here in the front to see if I see any signs of a component replacement or crinkled metal. Right now I'm not seeing that. The seller told me he already kind of scuffed away at some of the corrosion that he saw here. I just told him really that's not even necessary, because all he's doing is this cleaning this upper view. I mean, you have it all over the engine, and really it doesn't really help. So it's not necessary, because you can see the alternator, right? To do it properly, you'd have to disassemble it. So either you do it all, or you just leave it alone. I looked at the engine belt. I didn't see any obvious signs of cracks or weathering. It is slightly discolored, though. I like to see the nice black color. But again, the belt itself looks decent. Also, I like to look at the pulleys to make sure they are not wobbling, right? So that they look pretty solid. I looked at the radiator area. No obvious signs of fluid leaks there. Okay. No, I just touch everything. Hoses all seem to be intact. Right. Let's see if I can still open the radiator here without it blowing up on me. Okay, so it's already building up pressure. That's just steam that you see right there. And what I'm checking for here is so the fluid looks really good. Looks like it's probably recently serviced. Nice color. But what I'm checking for here is signs of cross-contamination or bubbling while the engine is running, and I'm not seeing that. So far so good. Also pull the engine dipstick, transmission, and take a look at the brake fluid. Fluids looked like they're in decent shape there. Let's see here. So yeah, good elasticity there. Again, just taking a look here in the engine bay area and not seeing anything obvious as far as any damage. Right, the hose is good. Right. Also do a battery test. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. I know when I started it initially, the starter seemed a little sluggish, but the battery did check out okay. It's just showing, good. Just needs a recharge, which is what do I say? Which is acceptable, I would say, because typically these cars sit for a week or two or a month, or I think in this case, I think you said it's been on the market for a couple of months, so they're not driven. So it's only natural for them to get that discharge, but it can be charged, and I'm actually going to let it run for about 15 or 20 minutes after I finish the segment with the video, because what I want it to do is I want to heat seek the engine. Also, it heat soaks the suspension as well. So as it heats up, if there's anything that's giving, hopefully I can pick it up as the engine warms up. Also, the cranking was normal, so and charging, there was no issues there. So we know that it's a good battery, starter, and charging system as of performing the inspection here today. I also I didn't mention that when I'm doing the engine bay inspection, I use a stethoscope, and what I do is I hit I can't even speak English no more. I hit key areas within the engine alternator and as many pulleys as possible, so that way I can see if I can pick up on any abnormal noises that you couldn't typically hear without using an instrument. And again, everything just sounds tight. So, I'm driving the car for about 3 to 4 miles now. One of the first things I did want to check before it got hot or the tires warmed up on me was the roughness that you had felt when you first started driving. I didn't experience that, but I definitely want to ask the salesman, or the owner, if the car was driven this morning prior to me doing the inspection. So I'll need to ask that, because that would explain that. But as of right now, my initial road test, I didn't experience it. I didn't experience any roughness coming from the tires or wobbling or anything. So this moon, beyond that, again, I've been driving for about 3 or 4, probably about 5 miles now. But yeah, the engine performs well, transmission shifts well. I've done the manual and in drive shifting, and I've kind of pushed it kind of hard, and I'll actually step on it again right now, and it's responsive. And then coming to a stop, I'll take my hands off the steering wheel when it's safe to do so, and it's stopping straight. Also, when I'm driving, I release the steering wheel, and it was driving straight as well. Check the horn, check the wipers, that all worked. Rear wiper AC blows cold. I did notice though, when I first turned on the air conditioning, it had kind of like a almost like the odor of urine. I don't know if you noticed that. One thing I did notice that then kind of triggered that they got an air freshener in the car. Typically, you go to a used car lot, you don't see these, an air freshener or whatever, unless they're trying to mask something. So you may want to ask him, and if he's honest, he'll tell you when he first purchased the vehicle if there was any abnormal or not noises, but odors coming through at the car itself or through the vents. Again, I try to duplicate that odor, but after running it for a little while, I can't tell anymore unless I got used to it. But that was the first thing that I noticed when I turned on the AC. Was that odor. Blower fan was working, heater control works as well. Braking again, phenomenal. The parking brake, I still need to check that. I didn't do that while I was doing the walk around. Windows worked. Everything seems to be intact. Seems like a pretty nice car. I ran the diagnostics. There was a fault for it's like BCM. It's like kind of like the driver controls. And for whatever reason, I see that on when I do these Nissans. And to do each one probably takes about an hour to do. So what I do is I just try to check everything operationally to see if I can duplicate any issues, and everything that I've checked is working. What else? And that's about it. I'm gonna just drive a little bit more, do some figure eights, put some stress on the suspension a little bit, and see if I hear any abnormal noises. But so far, the car's checking out to be pretty solid.